I know you really want to buy all those books that are in your shopping cart that have been trending this past week, but before you do, watch this video. How's it going? I'm Mikey, and this is Comics by the Cover. If you are new to the channel, I first want to say thank you. You're super awesome. If you are returning to the channel, super thank you. You're really awesome. I appreciate you greatly. With that said, as always, if you are returning to the channel, you're probably familiar with this format. If you are new to the channel, it's kind of give you a rundown. So every week on Thursday, Key Collector puts out the trending 20 list. This goes out early to subscribers such as myself. I do highly encourage, if you're not subscribed to Key Collector, it's a fantastic tool that you can use to kind of look around for books that you might be having interest or potential wanting buying. The true trick to it is really kind of pulling through the categories and looking through everything, and not just looking at just the books that are trending if you really want to get some in-depth use out of it personally. The next thing what happens after that list goes out on my Instagram, I begin to poll the trending 20 list and ask if these are books that people are interested in buying or books that they're interested in passing. Over the weekend, comictom puts out his trending 10 list, which is based on the top 10 books that he chooses out of this trending 20. I then take my list, my polls, and I compare it against that list to see how those books polled, and I make this video, put this out to you, and then we do a little deeper dive at this point, and we say, okay, well, if these are books that we potentially missed that were trending, what other opportunities might we have that we can take advantage based on these lists? Because oftentimes what you'll see with books is if one book trends, another book follows it that's very similar to that may be associated, and I think you'll see that example kind of play out on this list right here. So coming in at number 10, we had Black Adam, Endless Winter, number 1. This book, as you can see, pulled as a 3466 pass. So a good majority of people are passing on this book. This is just another situation where a hot variant hits the list. It happens often. Usually it's tied to some sort of spec that may be circulating in the market. Right now, of course, Black Adam is hot, so people are looking for some of these Black Adam covers, and people landed on this book, and they did a great job on going over some of the potential price variances on this. So I'm not going to go too deep on that. Coming in at number 9 was The Rise, number 1. This is a book based off of George C. Romero, so George Romero's son, that he put out. Again, this book pulled a 2179 pass. This is one of those books that it falls into that, okay, it's a hot series, something new, people buy into it. This is also one of those books that fall into what I refer to as niche collecting. These are people that are looking for these type of specific books that may be horror related or zombie related. And you'll find a lot of that within the community where people are looking for specific books. And because these books may not have a high print count, they initially pop heavy and then they go nowhere. Or they pop heavy and they stay heavy because that niche is just really strong. So coming in at number 8 on the list was Avengers 196. As you can see, this pulled a 89% buy, and only 11 people are passing on this, so this is a buy. This book has been hot, obviously, because the new Black Widow trailer dropped. Streaming to Disney Plus on July 7th, as well as theaters for those who are going to theaters right now. Man, you know, when you hear about when you hear about Black Widow stuff, you can't hear but The Boy Who Cried Wolf. This movie has been delayed. To kind of give you some ideas, speculations on these books for Black Widow have gone back to 2019. Of course, this is just one of the hotter ones because Taskmaster, I think he looks pretty badass in the new costume. That's just my personal opinion. So with that in mind, some other books that did poll previously with this that I think you might want to keep an eye out on, because you'll probably see these books also start to get popularity as the movie gets closer or as the movie drops. The first, of course, being, and I try to pick the ones that I feel like are in a more reasonable price range. So the first one we have is Marvel Fanfare. This, of course, Marvel Fanfare number 11, the first appearance of Iron Maiden. We know that Iron Maiden is going to be in the movie, so I would probably expect to see this book soon to pop back up on the trending list. Another book that I think is really going to be popping back up on the trending list will, of course, be Inhumans number 5. This is the first appearance of Yelena Belova. Now, mind you, she's only in a couple pages, as you can see right here, around the middle of the book. So it's a very brief, almost cameo type appearance. So with that said, I think another book that trended previously, Black Widow number 1 from the 1999 series, where she's on the cover. And I really think that this is probably going to be the chase book to go after. And you can see that this comes in a few different versions. There was the original version where she appears on the back cover. There is the Dynamic Forces version, where she appears on the front cover, and then there is the Yelena cover, which is one of the ones I personally prefer, which I think will probably be the hotter of these 3 books. I think if you look at the CGC note card on the top of the book, they actually classify this as her first full appearance. So I think if this is a character that you're looking to want to buy into, this is probably the book that you're going to want to go to. Now, with that said, I also think that there are a couple sleeper books that are lying in the bed potentially for this Black Widow movie, and these are based kind of on what was trending back in 2019 when the announcements for the Black Widow movie first came out. And these are books that you may want to see, look into as the books that may potentially trend later down the line. And the first being Ultimate Comics Spider-Man number 26. This is the first appearance of Ultimate Taskmaster. He's a little bit different than the regular Taskmaster because if I recall, he actually, if you touch him, he can absorb your power. So he has the mimicry ability a little bit more intensely than he does in the 616 universe. The next book up, I would say, this is Avengers number 195. This is the first cameo of Taskmaster. Because Taskmaster's first full appearance is on a cover, it of course just stands out. But a lot of people have been chasing cameo appearances, and as you can see, he does make a last page panel appearance here on Avengers number 159 or 195. And finally, the last book I would keep an eye out on would be the Black Widow Deadly Origins number 2, the 1 in 10. Is it Adi Granoff? I think his name is, variant. And this is the appearance of the white suit. As we know, she does appear in the white suit in the new Black Widow movie, so this might be a book that may pop back up again, which this book did trend, I think it was like a year or 2 ago, 2 years, 3 years ago, maybe 2019, if I recall. So coming in at number 7 was Batman number 107. This pulled a 3268, so a pass for a lot of people. This is another one of those situations where it's a hot variant cover, so a 1 in 25 variant. And that's just a trend that you see always with this list. So basically, whenever you see these top 10 lists comes out, there's usually a couple hot variants. There's usually a hot new story, and there's usually just a random like, where did that come from book on the list. This falls in that hot variant category. As you know, previously Batman 106 made the list as well. You can see how that pulled right here. It gave you the first, but that one gave you the first appearance of Miracle Molly in a cameo, so that book had a little bit something extra offering for us. That's why I think it pulled a little bit higher than this book did. Again, this is just a reminder to you, Miracle Molly does make her first appearance in Batman 108, which is the next in line book. So go out there, and you probably want to grab that book because that book is probably going to be selling like hotcakes. But there are a lot of variants that people are doing with that book with her on the cover, like the store exclusive variants. Personally, I like these sketch covers. I don't know if they're my full jam, but I do think they're pretty cool looking personally. So coming in at number 6 was Captain America number 275. This is the first appearance of Baron Zemo in costume. And as you can see, this pulled an 8416 buy, so people are really buying into Baron Zemo. But this is kind of a... Maybe it's just me, but I feel this is kind of a weird book because, he makes his first appearance in an early Captain America book, Captain America 168, if I recall. He appears in there as the Phoenix, but you do get his reveal and so forth that he's the other Baron Zemo's son, and that's kind of motivating his actions and so forth. And then then he appears in costume in this book, but it's just a cameo, and so that's the part about this book that kind of I'm like, why is this the chase per se right now? Because when you look at it, again, it's just one panel. This is one of those moments where I like to do a cover price play review and see how these books compare, because I think I have a couple other book options for you that might be a better selection for you in my personal opinion, because he does actually make a first appearance in issue number 276 and 277. But again, if you aren't familiar with Cover Price, I think it's a fantastic app. It's it's not an app, it's a website. Let me tell you why I keep calling it an app, because if I have an iPhone, and if you're not familiar with it, but if you do have an iPhone, if you go to the browser, so the Safari browser, you click on the little icon right there, and then it takes you to your home page, and then you can add this to your homepage, and it looks like an app. And because Cover Price is actually designed with a mobile first design method, which means that it wins on a smaller screen, it adapts to the smaller screen, you don't lose any of the compatibilities when it comes to it. operates and looks like an app if you do it this way. And that's one of the ways that I like to use it. And I think it's a really fantastic tool. If you are interested in wanting to do this, there is a link in the description for a free promo code for that service, and I do highly recommend that you do it because I do enjoy the pricing, and I do enjoy their looking at their trending reports and see what they have going on. Sometimes they are wrong on some things, but like when you look and compare them, but for the most part they're fairly accurate. But again, issue number 275. So let's do this kind of cover price play on this. So on 275, you can see that this he appears in one page for $55. Or in 276, he also appears in one page for $14. But my go-to option for this was Captain America number 277. One, you're going to get this cover appearance of him, and he appears throughout the book. As you can see, he appears in several pages, and that goes for a measly $4 on average. So that's my personal play when it comes down to buying into Baron Zemo if you're looking to go that route. So coming in at number 5 was Tankers number 1. This is another one of those bad idea books. I mean, right now they are the golden child of comic book publishers right now. And if you want to know a little bit more about this book, I really do think that the Two Fat Guys Pull List did a fantastic job of reviewing this book. It is a long video, so you're gonna have to kind of scroll through until you see the cover on there. But I'll put the time marker if I can find it for you on there. But I think they did a great job in reviewing this book. It sounds very interesting. I don't think it's something that I'm personally interested in, so I do fall in this 33% of the people that are 67% of people that are passing on this book, just because it's interesting. But when you hear their explanation of it, you're like, sounds off. So that's just my thoughts on it. But if you are wanting to buy more into this bad idea, they are exclusively sold at certain retailers, so it makes it a little bit harder to find. But the great thing about Bad Idea is if you go to their website, you can easily look up a retailer on there, and there are some other books coming out soon, so you may have missed on these ones, but again, there are some other books they do have coming out later in the year, and those might be ones that you want to add to your local retailers list so that you can get a hand or hold of those books before they come out. The last thing I would say about this book is there was another book that was a new series that did pull on this book that did pull as a buy, and that was Geiger number 1. That pulled at a 54.46 buy, so that might be another one of the new series categories of books that you might be interested in. Coming in at number 4, we had Master of Kung Fu number 115. This is the first appearance of Death Dealer. As you can see, this pulled as a 56.44% buy. This book also pulled previously as well. Previously it pulled as a 50-50 split, so you are starting to see this trend for it start trending up a little bit. Again, that might be because the movie is getting a little bit closer, the anticipation is getting a little bit more hype. We saw the toy releases on these as confirmed, so we know we are probably definitely going to see this character. This was interesting when you're talking about this book, because they were talking about the assembling of the character from the toy packs for Mr. Hyde, and man, that got me starting to think about Hawk 449 for the first appearance of the Thunderbolts. But I will say, if you are looking to buy into the Thunderbolts, piece just like you're doing with this character, it's probably better to piece assemble those characters as part of the team, because yeah, the team is hot, but it's made up of existing characters. A lot of them do take on new names when they become into the Thunderbolts. So I still think 449 is still a good go-to book, but I would definitely look at putting together some of those team individual appearances as well. The other thing about Master of Kung Fu that was part of the toy leak, there was a dragon leak in the toy called the Great Protector. As we know, that doesn't exist, but when I was looking at this this toy, man, it got me thinking about another character. I'm going to kind of go over that just a little bit, but some other books that you may want to consider when it comes to this movie coming out is, of course, Master Kung Fu number 29. This was the first appearance of Razor Fist. This was a confirmed character. There was a second Razor Fist that appeared in the series in issue number 105. And then, again, going back to that dragon, the colors, I don't know why, the colors of the design, it really reminded me of Gorgon. If you're not familiar with him, he made his first appearance in Wolverine number 20, but his design aesthetics is very similar in color, and so that kind of got me thinking about an Avengers world where he is in Madripoor and he brings to life this dragon that is sleeping below the city, which is, according to the supposed leak, that's kind of the general story that this dragon is sleeping below the city and it is awakened, and it makes me wonder if Gorgon is going to be that character that does that and may make appearance. But it's a good cheap book that you could potentially pick up. You can probably find it in your back bin. It's not a super key appearance or anything. Coming in at number 3, we had Avengers number 23. This pulled as a 44.56, so a lot of people are passing on this book. You know, this is one of those ones that are definitely on the key collector list for the Loki specs. And I like this spec a lot, man, because Renslayer's not it's not a common name. So the odds are great that it could potentially be Ravonna Renslayer, the judge in it. Judge Renslayer as Ravonna Renslayer, or, you know, they could potentially retcon everything, and instead of making it a love interest for Kang, maybe they might make it a child or something like that as well for Kang. Marvel MCU can fall in a different world when it comes to what they want to do. With that said, this wasn't the only Loki book that trended this week. There was Loki, Agent of Asgard, that pulled at 38.62, and then a couple buys came back in. So we had Avengers West Coast 62, which is no stranger to the list, that pulled at 54.46 buy, and then Fantastic Four 353, the first appearance of Mobius and Mobius, also pulled at a 54.46. That leads to the thought that, okay, Loki books are starting to gain traction. As we know, Loki drops in June. So some books that previously had hit the list that may be something you may be interested in, one to keep an eye out on, that may pop up and trend up again is going to be Vote Loki. That was a book that, like I said, was on the list previously, and I think you might see that book trend as well. I did ask people if they thought that this character was female Loki, and so we did a poll there. You can see how that kind of came out, that a lot of people do believe that is the female Loki. So with that said, I do think that that's one of the reasons why the Loki Agent of Asgard book had trended earlier, is because he takes on a female form in there. But he does it the first time in Thor number 5. So this is kind of the first appearance of female Loki as Sif. So I think that's a book that you may see pop back up on this list, is trending very soon as well. The other book I will say that you probably aren't going to expect to see would be Thor 617. If you look at the cover price details on this is the first appearance of Kid Loki, and this book has been trending favorably. So it might be a book that you might be interested in trying to go through your back bin to try to find, because I do think you missed the boat when it comes to finding this book online, personally. Coming in at number 2 was Ultimates number 1. This book pulled as a 44.56% pass, which I'm surprised. I think AO is a strong character. I did talk about this book in last week's video when they had Black Panther number 4 trending. I said that this is probably a book that you're probably going to see up on the list, as well as Black Panther number 1 for the first appearance of the Dora Milaje. This book, of course, made the list, and I did know recently that the Black Panther number 1 was added to the Key Collector Hot spec list this past week. So again, this is a book that I think that was, we knew it was going to come based on it. And now with Falcon and Winter Soldier about to come to an end, there's a couple books that we definitely want to try to revisit to kind of wrap up again this Falcon and Winter Soldier spec. Some of the big reveals that people are expecting, of course, was in Captain America number 25. This was the first appearance of Sam Wilson as Captain America. You'll probably see this book trend in the next few weeks as well. As the show starts to shake out. Another character that popped for a moment, where they believe that Carly Morgenthau's actress may come back in the series as Ricky Barnes. So Captain America number 1 was a book that previously trended based on that speculation. So that might be a book that might start trending again, as well as Nomad number 1's with her as the on the cover there, and her first solo series. So those are books that I think that you may want to keep an eye on as potentially trending in the next few weeks as the show starts to shake out the final details. Personally, I'm a big fan. I think, D-Man is a good character to replace the Battlestar character, and I do see them playing the we don't negotiate with terrorists storyline to justify kind of Captain America's or John Walker's actions, for what he did. Coming in at number 1 was Jupiter's Legacy. This pulled at a 61.39, so this is a buy for people. As you know, the new Netflix series trailer dropped. The series comes out in May. This is expanding or starting the Miller universe of books that may be coming to Netflix. I did a whole video on that, and you can check that out up here. So with that said, as always, that is the list. If you found value in this, please remember to hit that thumbs up. Otherwise, I will see you next time, and that is a bye.